The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast dedicated to fashion, the art of living well, and all things beauty. I'm your host, Dr. Shirley Madhere, your purveyor of this definitive source of living your most beautiful life. This week's episode is dedicated to getting salty. And we are getting salty today with Amber Berger, co-founder of Salt House New York. So, getting salty, why halotherapy is going to be your next greatest fix. Hi, Amber.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining me on the Forever Fab podcast.
Thank you for having me. So
excited.
excited.
And thank you and Stephanie for opening, Stephanie Roosh, your co-founder and co-partner, for opening Salt House New York, because it has definitely been an absolute pleasure and a tremendous benefit in my life. But we'll get into that later. So I have to tell you that I first found out about you and Salt House New York because I think I had read about salt caves and salt therapy on Goop. And, I have this love-hate relationship with Goop. So I don't always believe what they say. I don't always agree, but this time it sounded interesting. So lo and behold, ask and you shall receive. I was driving by the street and I happened to look up at the right time and I saw your sign on the second floor on Lexington Avenue. And I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to look this up. And lo and behold, the following week I came in and it was just miraculous.
Yes, we were meant to meet.
Yes, it was meant to happen. So, many times something happens in someone's life to trigger their journey through wellness or onto the wellness track. Did you have such a story, or do you have such a story? What happened?
I do. So my story is kind of long, but I'll make it short and sweet.
You can take as long as you like.
So I was diagnosed with Crohn's when I was 15 years old, had surgery, and after surgery, my doctor prescribed prednisone, which is a steroid.
Yeah.
And for some reason, as a child, my mom and I were just not happy that was my calling for the rest of my life. And luckily, I had an aunt that lived in LA who had a client that had come back from the Macrobiotic Institute. And that person had Crohn's, and it really changed their life. So 2 months after I had surgery, I went with my mom on a nice journey to the Macrobiotic Institute, which was up in the Berkshires at the time, not knowing anything we were getting ourselves involved in. And basically, I remember we literally had chocolate chip pancakes at IHOP.
Like the morning of.
We're like, here we go. This may be the last time we're ever eating this. And basically, I learned about the power of food and how food is energy, and that you can energetically create a plate in order to be balanced.
Yes. And
from that, I was basically macrobiotic for 2 years, and through that, it healed my Crohn's. So I say I had Crohn's when people ask me.
Good for you.
It didn't define me as a person having Crohn's, but basically it totally changed my lifestyle choices. Yeah. And so I lived a holistic lifestyle and learned about, elements of self-care and self-care practices, massage, acupuncture. My whole world opened up, and I was only 15. And I think that just is how I live my life. And then once I had children, I wanted to make sure that I was instilling certain practices in them. And I think my love for wellness, it always existed, but it went to another level after I became a mother. And especially after my second child arrived, I was ready to take it to the next level. And I was looking for things to do with my family that was wellness-based, and there was really nothing around. I love engaging in, if it's infrared or sound meditations, and everything I was doing was sort of on my own or with a friend and leaving my family
out of it.
And there was one trip I took to Florida. My friends had been telling me about halotherapy and salt rooms. I said, what is this?
Yes.
I never heard of it. And they're like, it's right up your alley. You can go with your kids. You can go by yourself. It's when you don't feel well. It helps to boost your immune system. So there was a time my husband and I were down, just a trip, the two of us, and he had an annoying winter cough.
Yes.
This is probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. Okay. And so I said, let's go. It's just us. Let's check this out and see what it's all about. And after one session, his cough cleared.
Wow.
And both of us,
in the salt cave.
One session.
Impressive.
And we were both kind of like, oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah.
And it was funny that it was at a time when my background is in fashion and jewelry, and I was looking to transition into wellness. I wasn't creatively satisfied anymore, and I was looking to have more meaning in my life. And really, I always love to help people. So I was kind of that go-to person, since I am more holistic minded, kind of what do you eat or what do you use when you're not feeling well? And it would help, for myself or even for my children.
Yes.
And when trying to help my husband with this cough and discovering halotherapy, we were blown away by the benefits. And when I researched, I wanted to go and take my kids in New York. There was no place to go in the city.
That's true.
And it was sort of a light bulb moment and an opportunity for me of, okay, well, maybe this is my calling. I was like, I happen to love, it's a crystal, right?
Yes,
so it's sort of jewelry inspired.
That's right, it is. It's pink.
It's pink.
Our feet are in pink
I love
sands.
pink.
I love it. I love pink.
And really the concept developed of creating a space of connection for people to come and gather together all in the name of wellness.
Yes.
And I think that by living a holistic lifestyle, for me, it transformed my life of not having to go to the doctor all the time and live on medicines and feel bound by that. That I was able to tap into myself and learn how to control my body and eat the right things whenever my body would feel stressed, or make sure I went for, monthly or bi-monthly acupuncture appointments or reflexology. I always, no matter what, would do certain things to help me feel better. And I love that the power of salt through halotherapy has such profound benefits.
Yeah.
And it blew me away that, you could just sit in this room, breathe dry, salty air.
Yeah.
And it would help detoxify your respiratory system. I mean, so many people have cough, cold, sinus issues, allergies, asthma. And then it also, for your skin, can, help with so many conditions from acne to psoriasis, even eczema. And it's funny, since opening up, it's like now someplace I could bring my kids. Like my son had woken up after we came back from Florida and his eyes blew up from allergies.
Oh, gosh.
And I was like, thank God there's a place that you can come. And it's not.
Let's go to mom's place.
Yeah, they play. And it's so nice from a young age to introduce them to wellness in a playful and fun manner where it doesn't feel like a chore. And hopefully this can become part of your lifestyle, your routine. And then that could transform you for your future, that you can just feel your best all the time.
All the time. I'm all about that. You have talked about so many things that resonate with me so deeply, but it's not about me today, Amber. We're going to talk some more about salt therapy, halotherapy. So you mentioned the benefits, and when you were researching it, what did you learn that the benefits of salt therapy or halotherapy are, and did you see those benefits actually be fulfilled or come to life? Were you able to confirm those based on your experience with your clients here?
So what I loved about salt therapy is that it's mimicking the environment of natural salt caves that exist in Eastern Europe. I think people know the benefits of the power of salt, whether it's the Dead Sea or Epsom salt baths or using a neti pot
magnesium salts,
or magnesium salt. So we are already incorporating salt into our lives, and I didn't know that natural salt caves existed in Eastern Europe. And when I started researching and seeing that they had spas built into them, people would sleep over in them because they just felt better breathing in this dry, salty air. It was just amazing to me to think, like, this is a real thing that was put on this earth. And luckily, there was a doctor that was able to create this machine. It's called a halogenerator.
Yeah.
And that is what creates the halotherapy treatment. So halotherapy is different than what just a salt room is.
Okay.
And so the machine is what infuses the air with dry, salty air. And then when you get the salt to be microscopic and dry, it could penetrate the deepest layers of your lungs. So I can even speak for myself. A lot of people talk about, we always want doctors to come here because a lot of doctors don't know about this treatment.
Right.
Because it is more alternative, and they'll say, what is the scientific data, this and
Where's
that.
the evidence?
And there's some evidence, with the NIH doing it for cystic fibrosis.
Yes, I'm aware.
There is not enough evidence or not enough money put behind it to put the research into place. And it's hard with an alternative treatment.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes a long time for that to happen. So for now, we can only speak about what we feel the difference and our clients what they say.
Yes, what we call anecdotal evidence.
Yes, it's anecdotal evidence, and I can only speak.
It can be just as powerful.
Yes, and for myself, I mean, I never suffered from allergies. All of a sudden now I have allergies.
Right.
And this year they were really bad.
All-time high, yeah.
And I came here twice a week, and it really relieved my symptoms and then made them go away.
Yeah.
I could speak for my daughter. All of a sudden she had eczema this year. She's never had eczema. So we would come here once a week for her, and
Yes.
it made the eczema go away.
Absolutely.
So I've seen the benefits not only for myself and my family, and then for our clients that walk in the door. I love watching them before and after. And it's more than just halotherapy and the benefits. I think Salt House, we created a space that we hope to be people's gateway to wellness. So while you're receiving the treatment, we want this to be a place where you connect with your body. We have the guided breath work on the wall.
Yes, I see that.
And the importance of just connecting to yourself and connecting to others in your community.
Yeah.
I think we're so disconnected now. So we request that you put your phone away or your iPad away and don't use technology. There's no TV in the rooms. A lot of other salt places will have technology in the rooms.
Yes.
And just the combination of the salt therapy, the disconnecting from technology, but connecting to people around you is so profound for your mind, body, and spirit.
I would agree that you both have created an absolutely beautiful and healing experience. So how would you counter the people who say that there are side effects to halotherapy, such as coughing or wheezing or shortness of breath? How would you answer that?
Yes, so there are, of course, side effects. Everyone's body is different and reacts differently. So even say you have a cold, how many times should you come? For some person, it may be one time. For someone else, it may be 3 or 4 times.
Right.
And it's funny. So when you inhale the salt, it attaches to any mucus or pollutants you may have. And by coughing or sneezing, it shows you that actually the salt is working. You're getting it out of your body. So it shouldn't. You may think, oh, I'm getting sick. Actually, I have a funny story that Stephanie's husband, when he first came, afterwards, he's like, you know what? I came to the salt room, I did it, and now I'm more sick. And I was like, no, you think you're more sick, but actually that's showing the salt is working. So it's almost just shifting. It's a little opposite of like what you would expect. Like, oh, I'm coughing more, so I'm getting better. But that is the truth. So that is technically maybe a reaction to salt, but it's a positive reaction that may seem like a negative one initially, but it's really not.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. So let's talk some more about the experience. So someone comes in and signs up to have a session, and they can do that on your website as well as through MindBody.
At salthouseny.com.
Salthouseny.com. So someone comes in for a session. Describe the session. How long is it? How does one dress for it? What do you do during a session?
So what's great with halotherapy, why I really fell in love with it, is you don't have to change. So you can come dressed as you are, and we require socks. So you really can just pop in and out along your day. When you first walk in the door through Salt House, you will have a scent that takes over you, and it's our custom blend, and that's meant to relax you, decompress you, kind of take your energy level down a notch. Take the edge off. Yes. Take the NYC edge off, and people, it hits you, it smacks you in the face when you walk in a good way.
But it's a pleasant
smell.
Yeah,
so we love doing that to initially just change your energy and shift it when you walk in the door. So we request that you put your things. We have a locker, so you'll put your stuff in a locker, take your shoes off, and then you will come into the salt room. The floor is filled with Himalayan salt that looks like sand.
Beautiful.
It is pink, so it's a really nice way to give yourself a grounding energy. A lot of people talk about that you should connect with the earth, and especially we're urbanites, we live in the city, we can't really run around in the grass with our shoes off.
That's true.
So this is a really nice way, just from a tactile perspective.
Is there something special about the pink Himalayan salt?
No,
and
so this
Himalayan
is
salt in
natural.
general?
This is more decor, but also it is a grounding element because it is connecting with the earth, and the salt is mined in Pakistan. So it is salt that you would cook with. You technically could eat it, but it's strong. I wouldn't suggest it.
It would need lots of feet and socks.
Yes, exactly. So the decor the energy of the space is meant to be sort of a relaxation waiting room of a spa. We want to take the spa experience outside the spa. And you come and sit in a relaxing chair. We have neck pillows, eye pillows, blankets if you're a little chilly. And you really just sit and relax for 45 minutes. Yeah. And the room gets infused with dry, salty air. And what's nice is you can do whatever you feel like doing at that time. You can meditate. You could do breathing exercises. You can write down your to-do list or journal. We had someone in here writing Christmas cards. So you can kind of take a moment for yourself just to really connect back with yourself. And it's been interesting watching people. It takes everyone about 15 or 20 minutes to kind of settle in.
Yeah,
and then to do nothing.
Yeah.
It's really hard to just be. And it's something that I'm even working on myself. We're so used to being busy, and I think we used to feel like that was like a stamp of like, I'm awesome because I'm so busy.
Yeah.
But really, I think we need to shift our behavior and take a moment for ourselves, because you'll be even more productive and more efficient going forward if you can just center yourself and gather your thoughts and do it outside your home. Because I think when you are home, you feel guilty about doing that. And what's nice, you can take an amazing nap here.
I know. I haven't taken a nap here yet, but I do meditate.
I am not a napper, but we've had a lot of people who say, oh, I will never sit in here for 45 minutes. Oh, my goodness.
That's
and
so long.
every time they're
Knocked
passed out.
I love it.
And they're shocked themselves that they fell asleep.
Yeah.
But the salt opens up your airways. You're getting more oxygen to your body, which is then feeding your body. Oxygen is food. And then your body relaxes. Yeah. And it feels great. So what's also nice is you can host like a birthday party in here. We want to shift the behavior that, engage in efficient wellness, do two things at once.
Right.
So take a moment for yourself if that's what you need that day. Come with a girlfriend and catch up instead of going to a coffee shop.
Right.
Even you can host a meeting in the space, just by disconnecting from the technology and breathing in the salt. I say your mind opens up like a wonderland. Yeah. It's such a great space for creative brainstorm sessions.
I think it's fantastic. It's a fantastic way for me time. It's also a fantastic way to engage in communal wellness, because ultimately that's what it's all about, right? Yes. Individualized wellness, but the point is to have it spread so that everyone in the community as well. So I totally enjoy, although I come here by myself, but I've got plans to bring folks with me. I've got plans.
And also we have a kids room. So because it's a 100% natural treatment, it's something that kids and adults can engage in. So we have a room for kids, and when kids come, they play with sand toys, like it's a day at the beach. Yeah. And we also have a scavenger hunt in the floor.
Oh, great.
So
for
literally,
adults or children?
It could both.
Yeah, both.
I mean, we want everyone to play. We need play all day.
That's true too.
And not be so serious. So it's a nice way to introduce children to wellness in such a happy and playful manner, where they don't feel like it's wellness.
That's true. So speaking of children, you both have children. Both you and Stephanie have children. And again, I applaud you for being entrepreneurs, for being businesswomen, for being mothers, and just women these days. So how do you teach your children about wellness, or how do you teach them to be well?
A big thing that Stephanie and I really believe in is leading by example. So we try to show them, and it could be through small moments of self-care at home, or bringing them here and showing them, about a different space of what you can do. And I like to come at it more from a preventative health standpoint, or sort of getting ahead of something before it happens. We're big proponents for essential oils. We use them on our children all the time to help protect their immune system,
I use essential oils on my dog.
Yeah, as you should. Whether it's like protecting your immune system, going off to school, or you need help like, going to bed at night. And it's sort of just creating rituals in our house. I think for me, it started with food. It's like a big deal for me. We eat only organic in the house, or grass-fed meat. So they know like everything, if it's not organic, don't buy it. Right. I was like, I'd just rather not have it.
They become food snobs.
Yes, major food snobs in the house. But it's funny because those little things, they start to understand, well, why does organic matter? And they'll start to ask questions as they get older, once they've been around it. And also just like a ritual at night for us is diffusing essential oils and having them help to put in the oils of what do you feel like you need? And then they start to feel empowered to take charge of their own health.
That's great.
So it's little moments like that I do it for myself, but I'm also doing it for the kids. And then I can bring them into that experience with me. and show them that, this is a way that you can take charge of your own health and not just rely on others. Stop outsourcing. I think we all need to stop outsourcing
We all have the power within to heal.
Exactly.
Right? So let's also talk about some client experiences. I know you and I were talking last week about one of your clients who had a boil on her face, and after a session, it was radically reduced. So either tell me about that or tell me about another client experience that was just exemplary that you or Stephanie have experienced.
Yeah, so one is the beauty benefits, I think, are great.
Thank you.
People will say, like, your skin will be glowing. If there's any redness, it reduces the redness because it's anti-inflammatory. We did have a client who came in with, it was a red blemish. It was like kind of like one of those when you have like a bump on your face.
Yes.
And she wasn't even
phase
here
one.
for that. Yeah, okay, so you would know the terminology. She was a phase 1. And she came for a session, and she was shocked the next day. She came back. She's like, I had to take pictures. I just had to show you because I randomly had a picture of myself yesterday. And then I looked at myself today, and I just was floored because I think she wasn't even coming for her skin. She was coming because she had allergies or something. And it was just amazing to see in real time because it's hard for us, they're clients, so we don't want to be like, take a before and after picture.
Of course.
But it's nice when someone shares that with us. I think the biggest thing for us that we've been watching, and I wish we can capture it, is the before and after of people's physical body expression. People come in with their shoulders hunched up. They look like they're in a state of contraction. They have this intense look on their face. And then we've been saying the salt softens you the way it does. Like when you cook, the salt, it brings looseness to the food. And when they walk out of a session, they are like a different person. Their shoulders are relaxed. They're calm. They have a smile on their face. Wow. They're happy.
Wow, that's very good for New York City.
Yes.
Frankly, it's very good for everybody.
It is. So on top of just the health benefits alone, everyone says we say sleep like a baby. Yes. And people will email us all the time. I had the best night's rest in a long time. You will just sleep more sound because your body's getting more oxygen.
Yeah, I did experience that the first time also. I thought it was fantastic.
And I think we all probably can use that. It's like we call it, what is like a little body hack you can do for yourself? And who would think sitting in a salt room can make you sleep better? But it does.
It does. It really does. Well, I have to tell you, I woke up this morning feeling congested and sort of sinus pressure. And then I remembered we were doing this podcast at, Salt House. And I thought, yes, this was meant to be.
Exactly.
So I drank the Kool-Aid. And not only because I've read about the benefits and dug through as many scientific papers as I could, but personally, I can definitely endorse it. So it has worked for me.
We love that.
I definitely recommend it for all of our listeners. So a couple of other questions that may or may not be related to salt. So who do you follow on social media and why?
Oh, boy. So many people. It's out of control. Only because I like to know what everyone is up to. I think I follow a lot of people that are more wellness inclined because I'd like to see what everyone is up to. A person that really inspires me is Jessica Alba. Yes. I think she's great. She's a mother, 3 kids, runs her own business that's wellness minded. When I first had my child, that's right when Honest came out, and I was so excited to use her diapers, and none of my friends did. They were like, why does it matter? I'm like, because it matters. Right. So it's been wonderful just watching how she's like carried herself with such grace and elegance, and she just makes it look so easy when we all know it's really not that easy.
So Jessica, if you're listening to this podcast, big up to you, girl.
Yes. Nice job. Can we be
nice
besties? Come over.
Come on over. We have a salt house for you.
Yes, we do. I feel like she would love it.
I think she would too. If she hasn't already been.
Yeah, well,
we'll
she's
ask
got to
her.
come
We'll
visit.
ask her later. We'll ask her on Instagram. So complete this sentence. I am.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh,
I
love
am.
it. We're getting salty.
I like it. I would say I am a warrior.
Good job. I love that. I love that. And why?
And why? I think that it's funny. My life story never was a big part of who I was, but as creating Salt House, I had to like tap into my past and realize like where I came from. And I think that it's hard to like speak about yourself, but I think I am resilient.
Yes.
And I'm a fighter. So like whatever it is, I always want to like come out on top. Always like, and it's related to health, of course. But yeah, so I
love
say
that.
I'm a warrior.
I love that. Well, you are a fierce and fabulous, fierce and fabulous warrior. I think I'm going to have to create some F.A.B awards, like Forever F.A.B awards, and have a grand gala.
I like that.
And we'll have to give out awards to
Why
people
is
who
everyone
make the world a more beautiful place.
I like that.
Maybe Jessica Alba will be one of those
Yes.
people. Food for thought. You see what sitting
See what happens.
Right?
Brainstorming.
Brainstorming on a bed of salt. I love it. So, what are you most grateful for? Oh, so many things I know, but
So, definitely my family and my husband. I think my husband probably number one because we met first.
yes,
And
I met him, and he's fantastic.
Yes, and we met when we were kids, and I always felt like blessed that we met when we were 7. Well, we got together at 17. We met at 13, but I feel blessed like every day to have him in my life. And
for you.
don't take him for granted for a second,
Good
and
for
love
you.
the beautiful family we've created.
Yes, yes. Good for you. And I know you and Stephanie are exceptionally entrepreneurial, and I absolutely respect that about the both of you. So what is the future of Salt House? Where are you going?
So the future for Salt House, our goal is hopefully to be where you live, where you work, and where you travel. And we want Salt House to be a part of your everyday wellness.
Worldwide domination.
Yes.
And last question. What are your top 5 recommendations for living a fabulous and beautiful life?
I love that. So
Thank you.
I would have to start with my family, number one.
Number 1. So you would say embrace family?
I would say embrace family and keep them close to you because
Okay.
you never know when they may not be with you.
Okay.
And close friends. I have a lot of like childhood close friends. I think they always bring out like your childlike spirit and keep, life light.
Yes. So
You know,
nurture your friendships.
Nurture your friendships.
I love that.
This is number 3 that
Yes.
usually probably would be number 5, but I've learned to move it up on the list. I think engaging in self-care and
Oh,
taking
yes.
little moments for yourself every day. That's been a work in progress. I think as women, we always would put ourselves at the bottom of the list, but we have to move it up.
Okay. So that's your number 3.
That is number 3.
Up from number 5. I like it.
Yes.
What's your number 4?
I think breath work has actually been something that's been profound for me, is like the power of just breathing and breathing right for every day. It really centers yourself. I think once you can tap into engaging in belly breathing, and I use that as my meditation. That's my form of meditation. And especially when you're so busy, you have to rebreathe all the time, 20,000 times a day.
Can't live without it.
So if you just take 5 minutes to really connect to your breath morning and night,
Yeah.
I think it has profound benefits for your overall well-being.
Excellent. And number 5?
Laughter.
Yeah.
You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh and have fun and just play.
I agree. Well, I hope you had fun playing
This
today
was so
with
much
me on
fun.
this podcast.
I love that we did it in the salt room too. We got salty.
Thank you so very much. We got salty with it. Thank you so very much,
Thank
Amber
you.
and Stephanie, even though you're
Yes.
not on this podcast. Thank you both for opening Salt House New York. And I want to say to all of our listeners, if you'd like to try a session, please go to salthousenewyork.com. You can also go to MindBody and sign up. And if you do, and you use the promo code FABSALT, FABSALT, these ladies, these generous, fabulous ladies, will give you 15% off of your first session until June 30th, 2019.
Yes, come get
So
salty.
please enjoy, get salty, not just on one day, but every day of your life. Thank you,
Thank
Amber,
you.
so
It's
much,
wonderful.
very much for being on this podcast. And to all of our listeners, thank you for listening, and stay fabulous inside and out. Until next time, ciao.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.